the Soviets, of course, were quite, did their best not to highlight it, the dimensions of the Jewish participation, because it could backfire. There was a Nazi propaganda, and it never benefited them if the Jewish factor was highlighted by their enemies. Now, at the same time, the gradual purge of the Jews in the central apparatus that operated all these intelligence networks in the country and outside of it still is gradually diminishing. So these pre-war tendencies are still working. So to summarize the war period, how did the Soviet security agencies assess it? Jews were categorized as a very powerful group with clout, and I would say after the war, it was regarded as an extremely empowered group. In the post-war period, they developed a real paranoia in the security apparatus, of course, as a result of Stalin's paranoia in the last years. So it did make itself felt to the point that people who collected stamps, foreign stamps, were arrested. And the new Soviet security paradigm was actually slowly but steadily evolved. And it did recognize Jews as a global power. And the Soviets feared it. For the first time, they feared it, and it probably after the war and after the Holocaust. And the idea was that the power is too big for us, and eventually Jews in their security thinking are turning from asset in the pre-war period to liability, and in the last Stalin's year to major security risk, a sort of a repetition of what we have seen in the Tsarist Empire.